The man who never existed. True horror story. Part 1. Every detective remembers the first body they ever saw. I remember the first victim that was never supposed to exist. Her name was Olivia Brooks. At 2:17 a.m., dispatch received a silent emergency call. No screaming, no crying, just breathing, heavy, terrified breathing. Then the call ended. We reached the house 4 minutes later. The front door was open. Every light inside the house was on. The television was still playing the evening news. Dinner sat untouched on the kitchen table. Nothing looked unusual. Until we found Olivia. She was lying on the living room floor. No struggle. No defensive wounds. No broken furniture. It looked as if she had simply accepted death. The medical examiner estimated she had died less than 5 minutes before we arrived. Which meant, the killer had barely escaped. Or so we thought. Officer Miller found the security camera. Olivia had installed it 2 weeks earlier after someone repeatedly knocked on her door every night at exactly 2:13 a.m. Nobody was ever outside. At least, that's what she believed. We copied the footage. At 2:12 a.m., the porch was empty. At 2:13, the image flickered for one frame. One single frame. When it returned, a man was standing in front of the door. He hadn't walked there. He hadn't approached from the street. He was simply already there. Nobody said a word while watching the recording. He looked completely normal. Black jacket, dark jeans, brown shoes, no mask, no gloves, no weapon. Olivia opened the door. She looked confused. They spoke for almost 20 seconds. There was no audio. Then, she smiled. She stepped aside. She invited him inside. 11 minutes passed. At exactly 2:24 a.m., the man walked back outside. His clothes were covered with blood. He stopped, looked directly into the camera, smiled, then walked away. We released his photograph nationwide. Within 24 hours, thousands of calls arrived. I know that man. He lives near me. He worked with my father. He's my neighbor. Every single lead failed. The address didn't exist. The workplace had no record of him. His fingerprints matched nobody. His DNA matched nobody. His face wasn't registered anywhere. It was as if every witness remembered him. But reality didn't. 3 nights later, another woman died. Same time, same smile, same man, then a third, then a fourth, always at 2:17 a.m. Always entering without force, always leaving on camera, always impossible to identify. The media gave him a name. The man who never existed. Detective Harris hated that name. Until the 5th victim. Because this time, the victim wasn't chosen. She had been waiting for him. And taped to her front door was a handwritten note. I know what you are. Part 2. The 5th victim was different. Her name was Eleanor Graves. 72 years old. A retired history professor. Unlike the other victims, she never called the police. She never ran. She never tried to escape. When officers entered her home, she was already dead, sitting peacefully in a chair, her hands folded across her lap, as if she had been waiting for someone. The front door was still open. A handwritten note had been taped to it. I know what you are. Inside the house, another note. I've been waiting since 1968. The security footage showed the same man. The same face. The same clothes. The same impossible smile. But this time, something changed. Instead of entering immediately, he stopped. He stared at the note for almost 30 seconds. Then, for the first time, his smile disappeared. He slowly looked toward the upstairs window. Someone was watching him. Eleanor. She nodded, as if she recognized him. She willingly opened the door. The recording continued. Exactly 11 minutes. Then, he walked outside again. But before leaving, he looked directly into the camera, raised one finger, and pointed straight at the detective who would later watch the recording. Detective Harris. Nobody understood how that was possible. The camera had recorded 3 days earlier. Harris had never even been assigned to the case. Yet, the man looked directly at him. That night, Harris searched Eleanor's house. Hidden beneath loose floorboards, he discovered 7 old journals. The first was dated 1968. The final entry read, "I've finally seen him." The pages described the same man. Same face. Same clothes. Same smile. Every appearance happened exactly 57 years apart. Another journal described him in 1911. Another, 1854. Another, 1797. Every witness wrote the same sentence. He isn't killing people. He's replacing them. At first, Harris thought Eleanor had gone insane. Until the forensic report arrived. There wasn't a single drop of Olivia Brooks's blood anywhere inside her own house. Not on the floor, not on the walls, not even inside her body. DNA tests proved something impossible. The blood covering the killer's clothes didn't belong to Olivia. It belonged to someone who had never existed in any medical record. No birth certificate, no fingerprints, no family, nothing. As Harris closed the report, his office lights suddenly went out. The backup generator activated seconds later. His computer restarted by itself. One new file had appeared. Nobody had created it. The file name contained only one sentence. You are the sixth, Part 3. Detective Harris didn't tell anyone about the file. He copied it onto an isolated computer. The message contained only a date. October 14th. That was tomorrow. Below it, one address. An abandoned church outside Black Hollow. Police surrounded the building before sunset. Snipers, SWAT, thermal drones. Nothing entered. Nothing left. At exactly 2:13 a.m., every radio stopped working. Every flashlight flickered. Every digital clock froze. Only the old mechanical watches continued ticking. The front door slowly opened. Nobody touched it. Then, he walked inside. The same man. The same black jacket. The same smile. Officers rushed in. The church was empty. No footsteps. No hidden rooms. Nothing. Then Harris heard someone whisper behind him. You're late. He turned. The man was standing less than 2 meters away. No one fired. No one moved. Every officer later swore they had never seen anyone standing there. Only Harris remembered him. The man finally spoke. His voice sounded strangely familiar. I don't kill people. I erase them. Harris stared in silence. What are you? The man smiled again. I become. He pointed toward the church wall. Hundreds of names had been carved into the stone. Every victim. Every date. Then Harris noticed something impossible. At the very bottom, a fresh name had appeared. Detective Adam Harris. Below it, today's date. The church lights exploded. Everything went dark. When emergency lights came back on, the man was gone. So were the names. Only Harris remembered seeing them. The next morning, nobody believed his report, because every officer claimed the church had always been empty. No carvings. No stranger. Nothing. Then Harris opened his police ID. His photograph had disappeared. Part 4. The changes started slowly. The police database no longer listed Detective Adam Harris as an employee. Payroll had no record of him. His apartment lease belonged to another man. His fingerprints no longer unlocked his own phone. His parents looked directly at him and asked, "Who are you?" Doctors said he was suffering from severe delusions. His closest friends insisted they had never met him. Photographs changed overnight. Family albums no longer contained his face. Every memory of Adam Harris was disappearing. Then he understood Eleanor's journals. The stranger never stole lives. He stole existence. Every victim remained physically dead. But one living person was erased from reality in exchange. Not murdered. Not forgotten. Replaced. Harris had never been the hunter. He had always been the final victim. Desperate, he returned to the abandoned church. The stranger was already waiting. No more running, he asked. Harris raised his gun. I know your purpose now. The man nodded. For someone to exist, someone else must be forgotten. You've existed for centuries. Because you've taken thousands. The stranger smiled. I only take those who look at me long enough. Harris finally understood. Every detective, every analyst, every witness, every person obsessed with finding him, eventually disappeared. Not because they were killed. Because reality exchanged them. For him, the stranger stepped forward. I have your name. I have your memories. I have your life. Now I need your face. Harris closed his eyes. He fired. The gunshot echoed through the empty church. Police arrived minutes later. Inside, they found only one man. Confused, covered in dust, he calmly identified himself as Detective Adam Harris. Every record confirmed it. Every fingerprint matched. Every photograph matched. The case was officially closed. The murderer had finally been identified. Or so everyone believed. Months later, a young detective reopened the evidence room. Inside Harris' case file, he found an old surveillance photograph. Standing in the background, Far behind Detective Harris was another man. Black jacket, dark jeans, brown shoes, smiling directly at the camera. On the back of the photograph, someone had written 5 words. Now he remembers me instead. The file was immediately sealed. No officer has spoken about it since. If you ever see the same stranger twice, don't report him, don't follow him, and whatever you do, don't try to remember his face. Because that's exactly how he finds the next person to replace.